go ahead and get started for September 10th, 2024. If everybody could stand, say the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Here.
Brad Decker,
Here.
Debbie Hendrickson,
Here.
Joe Saylor,
Here.
Richard Hill.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Invocation. Sean, hat comes on, so I know who's doing it.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Bless our community and its leaders. I also ask that you give your blessing, healing, and comfort to Eric and his family. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Meeting minutes of last month. Questions, concerns? Motion for approval.
Move to approve.
Debbie? Roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Decker, Deborah Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Saylor,
Yes.
Richard Hill.
Yes?
Passed 5-0.
Skip the agenda.
Hey, Bob. Oh, okay. Apologize, I missed the review and approval of the agenda. Anybody have add-ons, questions, concerns?
I don't have anything.
Nothing? Thanks, Joe. Okay. Apologize for that. I checked that off anyway. Voucher packets, 9/10/2024.
I didn't have anything.
Is this HWC supposed to be a part of the voucher packet? Or?
It's something else I'll talk about here in just a minute.
Oh, okay. My apologies.
No problem. Nobody have any questions about the blank one?
I have one question about Republic. Why is it so high?
Oh, that was a double bill, right?
I believe so, yes.
But it says services 6/1 to 6/30.
Which, well, one of the bills we did not get, I think it was the June bill we did not receive.
Right.
And so
Okay.
is it like a double?
Yeah, it's like it's almost $60,000.
Yeah.
And
That's the double bill.
June bill that we never received,
Okay.
and then the last bill, the true up that we finished out.
And the only other thing I have, and I just was curious, it has to do with the tornado. What's a clamp press repair?
Squeezes that liquid out and makes
Yeah.
it solids.
I knew it was tornado related, I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I have. I'm not here to hear how much poo.
Just telling you, if you want to know the technique.
Any other questions over here? Mr. Brown, nothing?
No, I don't.
You guys have any concerns, issues? Have a motion?
I'll move to approve voucher packet.
Got a second?
A second.
Joe and Debbie again. Roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Decker,
Yes.
Deborah Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Saylor,
Yes.
Richard Hill.
Yes?
The Okra, that is, we got a grant from the Okra grant for $30,000. Got more? We're gonna,
50.
50,000, yes, for 30.
36,600, of which we requested a drawdown from the Oprah grant for 30,000. And then the other 6,600 would be paid from the local fee, which is where we budgeted for our portion of the company. So the challenge with this, I'm sorry to kind of.
No, you,
is Okra requires you to, so we do the drawdown, they can give us the deposit within 21 days. We have 5 days to turn around and issue a check. So this didn't make it into the voucher packet, but we've received the payment. The check has been cut, but we're waiting to send it until we get your approval tonight. But we had to have it printed within 5 days to meet Okra's requirements, which is silly because they're a state agency. They had 21 days to get us the money, and they know that we have to get it. We think they will disperse that much. But so anyway, so we've got, there's a check for $30,000.
Check for $6,000.
So just needed to make you guys aware of that, that was money we received for this now and more back.
Nate, they're doing the comp plan concept.
Remind me to say something to you about that later.
And Carmen, before I get, could you give us all an update on that when you speak? Not now, but when, please. Okay.
So you need approval of this, correct? I'll move to approve voucher for HWC engineering.
It'll be in September's packet, but, so you know.
You mean for October?
October.
Yes, sorry, October's packet.
It's September's bill.
September's bill,
Yeah, because we're approving August right now.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll approve it, I'll move to approve as invoiced and as described, 30,000 from the grant, 6,600 from us.
I think Brad, you second, right?
I did, yes, sir.
Roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Godecker,
Yep.
Deborah Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Saylor.
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
passed 5-0.
Financial reports, I
So we had emailed out, or Melissa had emailed out a new fund report. I had noticed an error in there, got that corrected, and so emailed out a new fund report. So if you have any questions, if you didn't get a chance to see that email, I think you printed it, you want to.
Yes, you all have new copies.
Okay, so the general fund August 31st balance is $624,191.08. Nothing out of the ordinary as far as revenue and disbursements. The sewer operating balance is $615,483.82. This is where there was a change and an update and a correction. So revenue and disbursement, nothing out of the ordinary there, now that we make that correction. Sewer improvement fund balance is $596,200. Okay, may have to come back to that one, because that one had what had happened is there was money put in the sewer operating that should have been put in the sewer improvement. There was a significant permit that was submitted, for the Allure Apartments, that was the sewer improvement. So I thought I updated that, but, it was a large amount of money. So, but that went into sewer improvement. I thought I updated it, but I don't know where it is. So, balance $596,254.30. Revenue is $58,000 and dispersed $1,500, just under $1,500. Oh, I think I put it in
Water.
this is not right. That should have been in sewer improvement. That's $800 and some thousand. So I didn't have it color coded to help me. So this fund balance is probably the sewer.
It's funds right.
No, it should be in sewer improvement fund, if that's what we.
It is,
Okay, so
$856,000.
my spreadsheet or my little presentation is incorrect.
Right.
So water operating balance is $334,834. With revenue $108,000 and disbursements $141. I guess I just put that on the wrong one. And then water improvement is $493,486 and $96 or 96 cents. Nothing out of the ordinary on revenue and disbursements. So, any questions for me?
Can you go back to the water operating balance, the 856, 750? Is that the allure and the past development supposed to go in the other account?
Yes,
Okay.
It's in sewer, so the sewer, the numbers you see,
Oh, I'm looking at this.
the sewer, the sewer, this is the
Now, your
sewer
fund,
improved, like this,
I think this is
I
one.
knew when she printed is right.
okay,
This one's right.
I was looking at the color. I like the color.
okay. Yes, it was a large permit for the Allure apartments, and that's only capturing the EDUs that they plan to use. So it's based off of the number of buildings, the number of units, the apartments within the building, and that's how we calculate our EDU, which is, domestic unit. So like for a residential home, it's one, with apartments, they look at it as a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and then there's a calculation to determine, your domestic unit for that, so.
Equivalent dwelling unit.
Yeah. So so we captured that. They still owe some of their permit money. And this was a $900 and some thousand permit. They still owe some of their permit money because we still need to establish a rate, for an 8-inch water meter. And therefore they'll have some other, fees that they'll be paying, as soon as we get those rates established. So that's why you don't see a huge number in the water improvement just yet, so.
On that, I've seen they broke ground on the one end but they're also doing pads. So are they gonna do the apartments and that next building with the potential retail type concept too?
Yes,
So that's,
they've been discussing with a couple of retail, commercial developments. I've heard a couple of ideas of potentially a gas station, but I don't know if I've not seen any development plans, so they're just kind of getting the pad ready.
That won't look very pretty.
And they'll be working on the road improvements here, this year too, on Whiteland Road and then Graham Road. Sorry for that mix up on that.
no worries. Special guests, we have any special guests tonight? Okay, none. Old business. 2024-11.
This one was introduced last month, and this is our ordinance adopting a policy concerning coordination of disposal of personal property of the town. And you all had some feedback as well as leadership, and so Stephen worked on this, and you can kind of elaborate, or you can see the red line, what was corrected. It was sent to Chief Ship and then also to Slim to ensure that they were on board with the revisions, and they indicated that it was sufficient for what they were going to say, so.
On section A, number 1, so the property is transferred, that's kind of to compensate the one for trading. I assume that kind of appropriated budget, department receiving the property, okay.
Do any of the department heads or the director of administration, director of operations have any concerns or additional thoughts on it? Okay.
One. Motion to, pass the ordinance 2024-11.
Second,
I'll second.
Brad and Tim, roll call please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Godecker,
Yes.
Deborah Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Saylor,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
pass 5-0.
Resolution 2024-07, Vest, Mr. Ship. Is that you or Julia? Both, maybe?
We spoke on it last time. I think we have to have a public hearing.
Bless you.
We're just ready for any additional questions you have about this.
Just need to open the public hearing.
Okay.
Nobody has any questions.
We'll go ahead and open the public hearing for resolution number 2024-07. Anybody like to speak on behalf from a public perspective? No? Go ahead and close the public hearing. And all the funding on this has been changed. I know there was some changing of.
That's kind of what this does, I think.
Yeah,
This
this
is
tells me
what this is
to.
doing, okay.
Yep. I'm satisfied with the chief's explanation and everything from last time, and I'll move to approve resolution 2024.
I'll second.
Joe and Tim, and a roll call vote, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Goodicker,
Yes.
Yes.
Joe Saylor,
Yes.
Yes,
that's 5-0.
you're welcome. Moving on to new business resolution 2024-08, opioid grant program advisory board. Or is that?
If you wanna kind of take the, I can kind of
Either way.
Okay. So this, we've been talking about this for a while now. This is basically, you all joining in with other communities within Johnson County, including Johnson County, to kind of create an advisory board to distribute the funds that were received from the opioid block dollars from the various lawsuits that were filed against pharmaceutical companies, Kroger, all kinds of different things. So the dollars, that have been coming in, if it's below a certain amount, that funds automatically go to the county, the unrestricted funds, and then, we also talked about the current funds that
That's
we
what's
have
being
in our
approved, but there's a resolution.
opioid fund,
I look for it.
give to those but to and so what this board is looking to do is, Deb was nominated by you all to kind of serve as the Whiteland representative. But what this is doing is just bringing, it'll be kind of like a grant issuance to nonprofits and such that would like to apply for the dollars. And so this is just entering into interlocal. It indicates you're willing to be a participant, as well as the other, the entire interlocal explains the other parties, the other government units that are looking to participate. And we just ask for you all to adopt the interlocal and approve for Deb to continue to represent Whiteland on this grant opportunity for the community.
I'm not sure the copies of the documents for the meeting that I have here did not include the cover resolution. I don't know, Tim, I don't think got it either. There's, the interlocal agreement is an attachment to resolution 2024-08. You have a copy of the cover resolution,
I don't think any of us got it.
Melissa?
No, 2408. I just printed what they gave me. Sorry. I didn't even know there was a resolution that went with it.
Do we want to just set that aside till the end of all business?
You got a copy of the resolution?
There is one, and I thought I had sent it to Melissa. And it basically is the formal document that approves this and authorizes it to be signed.
Well, this has signature pages to
Right,
it.
right, because it doesn't need to be signed.
Right.
But there's by statute, you have to approve it by a resolution.
And we couldn't find the resolution.
And so it's,
2024-08.
I can resend it to Melissa and
Maybe just print one copy, is that all you need, then we could Come back to it.
I can, there's significant recital language. This is a form that the county sent out to everybody, because it's supposed to be substantially identical. And I reviewed it, and there wasn't anything that was a problem with it as far as I was concerned. The substance says, now therefore be it resolved by the town of Whiteland, Indiana, by and through its town council, that Whiteland does hereby adopt the above recitals as findings of fact and as follows. 1, upon the adoption of a substantially identical resolution by Johnson County Commissioners, the town council, and Whiteland clerk treasurer are hereby authorized and directed to take any and all actions necessary to appropriate and transfer to the county Whiteland's restricted settlement funds through 2024 in the amount of $10,663.93. And then number 2, pursuant to Indiana Code 36-1-7, the interlocal cooperation agreement by and between the county and the town in Franklin, Bargersville, and Edinburgh, and New Whiteland, Princess Lakes, and Trafalgar attached here to is approved. And then number 3, this resolution shall be in full force and effect upon adoption. And that was the last substantive paragraph.
So the resolution is giving permission to transfer the money.
And to sign the interlocal.
And this is, and to sign the interlocal.
Right, yeah.
I'll move to approve the resolution as read into the record by council.
Joe and Brad, roll call, please.
Jim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Godecker,
Yes.
Deborah Henderson,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
5-0.
How does, just out of curiosity, I know we just voted on that, but just from a standpoint of having a Whiteland representative and say there's a conflict of can't make it, there's a meeting. Do you designate somebody to go in your behalf, or how would that work?
It's probably like any other meeting. You have a quorum, you just go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe that. When I scanned through it, I think that it established a rule of procedure like that. It's requiring a quorum.
Just a quorum doesn't necessarily have to have, okay. Saddlebrook Farms maintenance bonds?
So in your packets, you should have received a summary page that lists all of the Saddlebrook bonds that we're asking to be approved, moved into maintenance and acceptance of the dedication of improvements. Primarily these are on Saddlebrook Farms South. We have anywhere from asphalt, right-of-way striping, surface, monumentation, motors off, ADA ramps, and basin liners. So those are they're all street improvements, street sidewalk. On our end, we have identified punch lists, or not punch lists, and we are ready to have those dedicated and accepted. I don't know why, I used a different letter to use my draft, and I forgot to update the cover construction because we're not done with cover construction. The bonds, I've asked that if you do go ahead and accept tonight, that it's in legal review, as these can take some time to kind of get through legal review, make sure you've got the right bonds and get things approved. So I asked for approval of the list of Saddlebrook Farms South maintenance bonds and acceptance of the improvements. Any questions?
What's it look like? I don't have any.
I don't have anything on there.
The list.
Do you have something?
Yeah, I don't have a list. I've searched and searched and searched. So.
was gonna ask you all if you have access to our SharePoint. I've got it out there in the SharePoint. So in the folder of the materials for today. You usually get those.
Thank you.
I didn't have it out on the 15th. They didn't make it in your packets.
I mean, I can't get my email, well, navigate to a show.
I've been getting emails from you.
Have you?
Not from you. They say they are.
Somebody was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to gain access to the SharePoint, let me know and we can get Carmen to send you a link. But it looks like I'll still be printing paperwork.
Hey Carmen, here's this document you were referring to.
Sent Richard some Apple's iPhone gift cards, so.
Did you?
To help him bond out of jail, trying to get his warrant figured out. Held by a Nigerian again. Stranded.
Spam emails you get? Spam emails? Yeah. So, does anyone have any questions now that you have it in front of you? Like I said, the department heads and specifically Sun have gone out and reviewed the improvements and say that they're ready to be accepted. Pending legal review of the documents.
You have a motion? Sorry.
I'll move to accept dedication, to approve dedication and acceptance of those improvements and the maintenance bonds pending review and approval by legal counsel.
I'll second.
Mr. Joe, Mr. Tim, roll call please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Roger Bicker, Deborah Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Saylor,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
passed 5-0.
Budget ordinance,
The money is.
2024-12.
I deal with it all the time anytime.
Together, can we go into the
Whenever you want to open it, it doesn't matter. As long as we have it.
I can just do a quick overview real quick. Obviously, this looks a little different than you guys are used to getting state budget books, but last year we was able to kind of fit it into a summary. You may need a microscope to see it or magnifying glass because it is kind of small. But just so you know, like this is, we're required by DLGF to submit our budget to them and have a hearing and adoption of our budget for 2025. The funds that you only see, a handful of our funds that are regulated by the DLGF. And as you can see, there's general fund, local road and street, NDH. So these are funds, like I said, that DLGF does oversee. On the budget summary, it provides kind of where we're at, what we have in the bank so far or to date, or what we project as far as revenue for next year, and then how that kind of shakes out at the end of the year as far as a surplus or a deficit. So in the general fund, remember at last meeting, we had discussed moving some things into the general fund that have never been there before, including a portion of Slim and I's salaries and Angie's salaries, some of our planning department, building commissioner, building inspector. And so that number does look significantly higher just because those salaries have moved into there. As part of the second part of our budget, you will see when we introduce the utilities, pardon me, there will be money requested to transfer from the utilities into the general fund to help fund those items. And so it's called a pilot, payment in lieu of taxes, where it's basically asking the utility to fund the town general budget. As Reedy was looking at our accounting procedures and how we're paying our people, and the recommendation that they had given us, and I know in the past we've talked about, well, each of us kind of touch a utility. Like I said, the portion of the town administration budget would be 25% would come out of general fund, 25% out of the same funds that we've used before, the water, sewer, storm, and MVH, some of that out of MVH. So it's a little different. We can If you look at further in the summary, it breaks it out by department, so each blue header, or footer, I guess it's at the end, will show you each of the departments that are, like, for example, in the general fund. So like I said, there's a lot of things that look a little different this year, that, you know, if you have any questions, I can do my best to answer them. And the one thing with the LGF, if we advertise high, we may come back and reduce some of these amounts, after we kind of get back from the LGF. We submitted this on August last Thursday, or no, right before Labor Day. Whatever that Thursday was, the 29th or 30th. So we did submit this to the LGF, and they'll come back and say, is this fundable or is it not? And if we have to make adjustments, we go from there before the October. So like I said, it's advertised high, and if we need to make adjustments, we can from there. And so we need to open the public hearing if you have additional questions.
We can go ahead and open it. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing to discuss the budget. Have any questions in the audience? Go ahead and close the public hearing. Thank you. Carmen, I have a couple questions. Sorry. So page 1, the third group under legal, we have a $140,000 increase from 2024 to 2025.
So again, what I did is I looked at, I broke down the 3 categories that Reedy asked me to kind of focus on was engineering, finance, and legal. And so what we did is Angie went through all of our bills from all 3 of those types of engineering, finance, legal, and then determined what were they doing and what did it relate to. Was it a town general? Was it planning? Was it town council related? Was it truly water utility, sewer utility, etc.? And so when we went through that, the percent of legal that was truly water utility, that's what we estimated the budget when you see those, when we introduce the utilities. A majority of our legal counsel right now, how we pay it, is we split it equally, a third between water, sewer, storm. Whether it had something to do with water or nothing to do with water, or sewer, or storm. And so again, this is kind of trying to align our bills with how the expense is being paid. So a lot of Stephen's time is spent in like planning and zoning, but we've never had a legal budget for planning and zoning or town council.
So do we now?
This is what's being proposed, yes.
No, in the planning and zoning. You said you have a department for planning and zoning.
Yeah, we can move it around because we're still early enough. I think I did put it all underneath town administration for now. So, but I can split it out and figure out planning and zoning of that.
Because he titles his invoices for where they should be billed.
Yeah.
So you have planning and zoning, it should be in planning and zoning.
And I'll look back through, like, as you can see, this is draft 4, it's still draft, so we can definitely just change it.
And then, second question is general health insurance, liability insurance.
So that we ended up moving, for health insurance, health insurance, we ended up moving that all underneath this town general. So what I did is, like, when you see this on that third category on the first page, those are just town general expenses. And so in the past, and we can always go back to how we did it, is we did it based on how those salaries were paid.
Mm-hmm.
But we just moved it all into general and put it under town administration, so when they go to pay the bill, they're not having to split it out, 50 million ways based on how each employee is paid. They have a spreadsheet for health insurance and how everybody's paid and how it needs to be split out. And so we just lumped it into the general administration. With liability insurance, we kind of did the same thing there. I mean, we do that kind of the same as well. So if it's somebody's vehicle and they're paid out of storm right now, we've been paying their vehicle, that vehicle that they drive, or a percentage of that vehicle they drive out of storm. And so just again, to kind of make things a little bit ease of payment in there. Now, if we want to, like, there's certain policies that are police specific related. We can look to put that underneath their department, but we ended up kind of just shifting it and putting it all under general administration. Other communities call that like the town council budget, so that's the whole budget for this.
But you're not charging water liability and you're not charging sewer liability. Is that what you're saying? Insurance.
So we can do that and do like what it costs to cover those buildings, but the way that we can do that.
Because I thought the whole premise behind what you're doing was so the right area gets charged the right thing.
Right.
So if sewer has a liability insurance, then it should go under sewer. They should pay their own liability, right?
And they probably do, because this is only $138,000.
So that's what I'm asking. You have some on theirs?
Yes.
Okay.
Our total liability insurance policies, all of them combined, bonds, general liability, commercial life, all those different things, this one, workers' comp, is $300,000 this year. So of the 138, yes, I don't have the other utility budgets in front of me, but I will double check.
Okay, that's what I was just asking, if they still had to pay some of it.
But for health insurance, I did put all of it underneath just the
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah.
One last one.
Yep.
Page 2, police budget. And this is just, I was just trying to back into math and I ended up calling Mr. Schiff. So item number 3, General Deputy Marshal Sergeant.
So there was.
Supposed to be 2, but it has 3 because I was trying to do back into the math and
Yep.
it didn't come up. So that should be 2 people. I mean, it's no big deal, but
Is it 2? Is it a 2?
Yeah.
and then,
And then, real quick, just so you know, Julia did come over and indicate that the marshal corporal, is that right?
Deputy Marshal should be lieutenants.
No,
Lieutenants, 2 sergeants.
Let's see, you know,
we have,
Corporal one's left over.
yeah, I'm sorry. The corporal line that's on here, the first one, the one that ends in .005. If you
This
look
is not a
over, it's
percentage.
got
This is, see,
63,000.
town covers 25% of salary, so this is
That 63
25%.
should be on the 61
So utilities
line. It
has
just got
25, 25, and
in the
25.
wrong spot.
This is just the part of the town, the general fund,
if we flipped it, actually.
$2,000 a person.
Not being-
And that'll be in the salary.
So there are corrections.
Yes,
That's what I'm
it'll be the
looking
salary ordinance
Unfunded,
later.
but
Okay, so that's not coming in.
Yeah.
No, but line item number 7 is supposed to be a lieutenant.
That's where I confused,
And again, it should,
because it's got ship in here.
yeah, the title is,
So you need
again, I was just diving into the
he's
details
paid
and I was
totally out of
confused,
general.
so just when
All the
time
police
permits, if that could be updated,
Yeah.
please.
You have that on your deputy budget.
Are you available
It was submitted for this year's
When?
budget, 2024's, everything
I'm gonna
should
draft
get
quick, is that all right?
updated.
Yeah.
Is it all right with
Yeah.
your husband?
Yeah.
That's all I had. Thank you.
We've been real busy.
Oh, I know.
Change.
Did you guys have any questions for Carmen?
No.
Oh,
I'll make those revisions and I'll email it out to get everybody to have access to the emails.
no, I think you covered everything. I was,
Got mine. I was thrilled. I'm a mess.
Nigerian prince.
I'm voting on this tonight.
Carmen, I think you're back up, Stone, Holiday Group, maybe?
I had reached out to all of you just to have an initial discussion. The plan was to release, a proposal to work with Sterling Municipal Group. So if you recall, when we first started discussing and engaging with the financial consultant, Sterling was our first one we went to, and then, then Reedy kind of came along, but, through our relationship that we've had with Joe Stone and Adam Stone does a fabulous job of helping us understand and explain where we're at. He's had the opportunity to work on our patch bonds. And a question was brought up to me on what we've been spending with our financial consultants. And obviously we had some things that we needed assistance on getting reconciled and such. But as we kind of continue a relationship, right now we're doing kind of, it's an open book or open checkbook for Reedy Financial. There's no set parameters as far as what they're doing for us other than what we ask them to do. And then it's an hourly rate based on that. And so I was charged with kind of finding, if we do continue with a relationship with a financial consultant, is it something that we can have a set amount? What would they do for us? And so I reached out to Adam and asked him to kind of hear me out. Like I said, he's done a great job of offering assistance, coming alongside and helping to train and educate, as well as making sure that we're doing things the right way. Actually being proactive and not just waiting for us to reach out. And so I asked him if he could do something on like a monthly kind of amount, kind of serve as like a controller, help us kind of maintain what we're doing, make some changes that have been recognized that are needed, ensuring our compliance is up to date, keeping us looking for additional ways to generate revenue, how to spend our revenue smart. And so he had put a proposal together, and I'd like for you all to provide any feedback. I'd like to move forward with Stone Municipal Group. In his statement of work, he did kind of put how he thought that the split of paying for him or this service would work, but disregard that. Well, if you guys are okay with us moving forward with Adam, I have put $90,000 into the general fund finance, and then the remaining amount that would be paid to him for an annual, the total would be split between the utilities and a little bit into RDC as well.
Yeah.
So I would like to request ask questions, but request approval of using Adam Stone as serving as basically like a contract controller. Get on a good path with our finances.
I've got one question. Did we seek any other person to look into this to compare prices?
I did not, but like I said, I have the utmost respect for Adam. He helped another entity that he used to be the controller at, fixed a lot of corrections where we had that same leadership here. So that was kind of where I have that trust in him. He's come alongside, he's been helping me with the work, with the potential work project, and he hasn't charged me anything yet. So it's not saying that he's doing this out of the goodness of his heart so he can get a bigger, payout later. But the one thing that he said that I haven't gotten from any other financial advisor is he wants to work himself out of a job. He wants to come alongside us, making sure that we're doing the right accounting procedures and principles, following those principles. And basically make it to where we don't need him anymore.
So my question is this what you do? Is what we're wanting this guy to come in and help you?
Help me out.
That's just a small thing.
Help you figure it out?
Yep.
The only thing I'm concerned about is just one bid, but other than.
But there's two. You got Reedy and then you,
Where's the other one?
well, Reedy hasn't given us a bid because they have an open contract.
Reedy's on the books.
Yeah.
And that's what I was curious, as long as we're keeping it.
The thing,
We're at almost a $250,000 with
Right.
so far.
and the thing about Reedy is, when I was here, it wasn't just one person touching something. You get 3 to 4 people touching one thing. Why? Yeah, and I'd had to call a couple of times. Oh, it's not that much. She charged it wrong and I didn't get a chance to look at it. Well, okay, but Adam's not that way.
And when they're supposed to follow through with me on things they've asked, they've
Yeah.
never done it.
I can tell you that in my job, I've had some dealings with Adam. And in fact, he and I at one time spoke about maybe doing some work together, but we never actually did that. He's not a client of mine and I don't perform any services for him. So I don't think I have a conflict there, but I want to disclose that at one point some years ago, we had discussed that. But conversely, the reason that I discussed that with Adam was because of how impressed I was with his work and how well
He's very intelligent.
how well he did it and how well he treated people. That he was a guy I actually wanted to work with.
Yeah. Sometimes he'd talk over me, but
He has a way
I
of
think it- but
explaining it to where I'm pretty sure you can make a 5-year-old understand
Yeah.
where we're at and why we have to do things the way that we do. So the other things that he's offering to assist with is a continued review of our utility rates, any kind of preliminary engineering reports that require a financial, that's included in this as well.
that would save us money with an engineering firm.
Well, no,
No.
only the financial portion of a PDO.
Yeah, not the engineer part.
But the
of it.
PERs, they were still gonna,
Required, like, you had reached out to Baker Tilly and,
Right.
you know, when they had to do like the financial portion for the PER. So
Yeah.
it's an overall kind of a holistic.
Baker Tilly's another one I've reached out to, and they were expensive.
I can tell you that I think as far as us getting personal service, there not being questions about what being billed for work, for redundant work or work that wasn't done. And as far as having the ability to have a close relationship and quick contact if we have any issue, I don't know of a better way to do it.
Herman, I just got a couple questions. Well, actually, I got 4. So,
We only allow 3.
what's the term of this? I mean, from a standpoint, I know it's month to month. Best case, are we talking 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months?
We can have that discussion and there's no term, there's no.
There's
like,
no term, month to
there's no
month.
limit,
There's no limit, there's no
max.
minimums.
Right.
No penalty.
Verify with that, yeah,
We go 30 days in and say, hey, we're good to go,
Right.
we're done.
yeah, we're gonna, yep.
Those are usually just 30 days notice of termination of the. Of that. And then there's usually a provision about, basically being paid prorated for work actually done, and then all work that's actually done has to be turned over to the city, or to the town, because that's our
I
work
mean, I
product.
would prefer something like that stated in his quote,
Yeah,
if
I
at all possible, just to cover our basis that.
So,
Well, and just to be clear, I view this as merely a proposal. There'll be a separate contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you do a contract, then all these concerns should probably be included or discussed or addressed.
You have to certify that you're not doing business with Iran and that you're in, and there's a ton of boilerplate in every municipal contract.
Else thinks it's good.
That's all I had. You got off easy.
so I guess here's my question, I'd like to move forward with him as soon as the general fund, like the DLGF budgets are approved. So we are planning to do a 3-year growth levy. We are looking at, obviously, this payment in lieu of taxes and doing all this transition. I'd like to bring him on board. So I don't know if we need to wait till we get a contract or, which is fine, but just know that if you approve this like kind of proposal, would you be okay with me going ahead and starting to work with him? And having a discussion with him on, can't charge me until the contract's signed kind of thing.
well, I don't even see the levy on here. 3-year growth levy's not on his
It will
list.
be. I mean, I don't know, he's already said that he would help with any of those levies, the geo bonds that we did, the housing, things of that nature.
Okay. I make a motion, you go ahead and pursue Adam Stone
And enter into a contract.
and enter into contract,
Subject to Stevens.
subject to Stevens' approval of the contract.
I'll second.
I can go.
Debbie and Joe, roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Joe Decker, Deborah Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Saylor,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
pass 5-0.
Did you use them when you were here? Did you use them when you were here?
He helps with the whole patch project. Because we had
Take your
no
word for it,
clue.
'cause you guys know more about
He
it.
uploaded all the patch stuff to DLGF.
Ms. Carmen, you're still
I
up.
had no
All
idea.
right, so, Director of Administration, I've got a
Very
couple of
nice guy.
items that have come straight to the game, so that they.
Just a lot of money to pay out.
Some of them are just informational, but some I would like to just kind of discuss and maybe get some action on tonight. The first one is, we have been working with Crossroads Engineers. The redevelopment commission has approved design and engineering. They've been paying for that to have a roundabout installed at Bobwood and Whiteman Road. Right now, we are looking to, discuss a TIF bond, to install this roundabout in 2025. I've been working with Adam on this, already, and, the funding capacity is there as far as doing a bond, which redevelopment commission kind of starts, but ultimately you all as the town council would approve that bond. What I'm asking for tonight is if we could go ahead and get this out to bid, pending, approval of this would be subject to, the bid would be subject to financing being approved, which would be this TIF bond, if we are able to. The reason why we want to go ahead and get it bid this fall is this is the time when all of the paving companies and construction companies are getting their plans together for 2025 as far as projects. So we want to kind of get ahead of the ball, get a better deal hopefully. So would like to see if that we would be okay if we go ahead and put a bid package together, and for the roundabout at Bobwood and Whiteman Road. This wouldn't get installed till probably this time next year. But again, to get better pricing, we want to go ahead and try and get that bid.
That's gonna be a big roundabout, right, with all the truck traffic, bigger than just kind of your standard.
Right now, it'll be a one lane
Drive.
until it'll be a one lane, but it'll still be about similar size to the Graham Road and, Whiteman Road.
Can we do a ban, just like we did on the other roundabout over here, instead of a bond?
Well, in this case,
Because we're not getting any help, right? We're just
the
paying for
question is
this.
whether the cash flow would support that, I think.
Oh, the cash.
Well,
So there's another project that we're looking at adding with a TIF bond. If we do a TIF bond, we have two projects that we're kind of mulling around, and the other is a park improvement project. And so if we have those two projects and use the TIF dollars or do a TIF bond on that would cover both of those.
Is that project gonna be in the same area?
No, that would be up on Front Street.
I guess my question is, are we talking about encumbering the entire TIF or a portion?
Yeah.
I think when Adam did the bond capacity, it started the clock on, it did start it out there, on that area. But I don't think we have a separate allocation area over, no.
We only have two,
Okay,
well,
the patch,
two general areas,
okay. So
patch
yes,
areas, and then the rest.
yeah, yes, it
So
would.
can that be separated, like the patch was? It wouldn't
I'm
happen.
not sure.
Just like the reason
We'd have
for
to look
patch.
into that, and I know what you're, getting at is starting the clock on the life of the TIF district occurs whenever you issue your first bond. And that's something that we've, postponed at this point. And whether we can only start the clock on a portion of our TIF district, I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that.
Because one of the reason we got to separate the patch area is because it wouldn't have happened if we hadn't have done that.
Right, but the key on that was there was no AV. And my concern would be if you were to separate part of it out, you would potentially have to basically restart the base with what it currently is, and then you lose all the TIF revenue that you're currently getting, if you know what I'm saying.
Can't be that much out there. You think so?
We're talking about where all the warehouses are.
No, I mean just where the interstate is right there. That's where the roundabout's gonna be.
Right, there's a lot of AV that is in existence, meaning new AV that is being captured or will get captured as abatement rolls off. So I think it's fair to ask the question and look into whether or not we can, make some modifications to limit starting the clock on all of it. But
If we were wanting to separate something out, we would want to only separate the undeveloped, correct?
I would think so, but then that defeats the whole purpose, because you need to have cash flow to fund the bond.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yep, no,
So, through the conversations with Adam on bond capacity, what we've been kind of looking at is, if we bond next year, we would get approximately $11 million to be able to do projects with. Then in 3 years, we'd be able to bond again, and that's being very conservative and looking at the existing AV. And as we're in year 6 of the Amazon TIF, and so that'll eventually roll off. And that's 100% abated now, that building, that first building out there, the Amazon building is 100% abated for 10 years because they had an improvement that they helped pay for. And so that's using conservative numbers that about every 3 years we'd be able to pull a new TIF bond and doing similar projects of that size, that magnitude, at $11 million.
What do you mean pull a new bond? Once you bond, you bond.
You can pull multiple off of the.
Issue a new bond.
Issue a new bond. You can have multiple bonds within your TIF area.
And that clock, go ahead. Well, that clock on the new, like, we did the first one, we do the second one, does that clock start then?
It's already started.
It's already started.
It starts with the first one, and so I think what you may be getting at is, once you start the clock, future bonds are gonna have a shorter potential life.
Right. And then, once that 25 years is done, then we have no more TIF area.
Right.
But if we don't start at some point, we're gonna continue to have projects on our list that continue to be more expensive. Right now, I have $100 million of capital improvement projects that we need to get moving on something. And I got a complaint today on trying to turn left out of Bob Glidden. I mean, the traffic study's been done. It's definitely needed now. With all the traffic coming off, one employer over there has 700 employees.
And that's why I was suggesting a ban, bond anticipation note, ban. You have 5 years to pay off that ban before you have to go to bond.
Well, but a ban is gonna have the same starting the clock effect. It's an obligation.
But if you don't go to bond, then it doesn't start the clock. Because it didn't for this first roundabout.
Well, but I don't believe we pledged any TIF revenue to it.
Yeah, I don't think that was paid for.
So even if we would use RDC money, what you're saying is, even if we use the money, the TIF money, if we capture cash, and pay that,
I think, as I think about it, if we had another source of funding that we could get it funded with, I don't know how much money we're talking about.
$2 million.
It's relatively low.
That's what I'm saying.
We should at least talk to Adam about whether we could avoid pledging the TIF, but still use TIF. I mean, as long as you don't pledge it, that's what starts the clock. Seems like I did something like that in another municipality. We'll look into that.
So what would it work if hypothetically I were to make a motion to solicit bids and to have Mr. Stone and council look into alternative funding mechanisms that wouldn't start the clock?
Right.
Would that be acceptable to everyone?
Before we vote on that, I just asked Joe, so having a one lane only roundabout on one of the busiest Whiteland intersection coming off 65 Whiteland and all the warehouses and all that, why is there a limitation to one lane only? Is
So
it,
the traffic impact study showed that that is the existing. It takes into account existing conditions, and it also takes into consideration future conditions. And then they grade it. It's like A, B, C, D, F.
and that's what they recommended, just one
And
lane?
they recommended a one-lane roundabout. Now, there is no north chute, just right now, no north road, because we don't have control of that property or agreement from that property owner, so it'll only be a three-legged roundabout. But that was what the traffic impact study had shown.
And by one lane roundabout, what you're describing is there's a single lane continuous all the way around, and then at each leg, there's probably call it an off lane, right? Okay.
I think it's
Okay.
more towards Appleton.
Apologize for interrupting.
No.
Can you repeat what you said?
Okay, I would make a motion to approve solicitation of bids contingent upon financing for the Bob Glidden and Whiteland Road roundabout, and that we direct council, and Carmen and Mr. Stone to, look into alternative funding sources that would not start the, TIF sunset clock.
I've got one question. Sorry. You're saying that's a three-way, right? Because we don't own the property on the other side. Is there opportunities to have that? Is this gonna change when someone decides to develop it and then they're gonna come in and then we're gonna have to deal with that?
There would be an approach or like a stepped out for that future north.
We are gonna sub something out.
Yes.
Well, you said three-way, but I
It's
did.
only three, but they won't be able to.
It'll just be a stub for the four.
Right, that's why I was asking. I just wanna make sure we took in preparations to put it there just in case, that way we don't come back later on, have to put more money out there. Cause when you said three, I'm thinking, well, if we didn't own
No,
this,
in the
okay.
comp plan, it's being revised that would be the truck route, the identified truck route within our comprehensive.
Okay, I just wanted to clear that. Thank you, sorry about that.
I second Joe.
We're not gonna make him repeat that?
No,
I second Joe.
I didn't want to interrupt him, so.
So Jonah made the motion and Debbie seconded it. Roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Godecker,
Yes.
Deborah Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Taylor.
Richard Hill,
Yes?
passed 5-0.
The other thing that I have, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put it up here, is, last year we submitted to the Indianapolis Metropolitan Planning Organization a roundabout at Centerline and Whiteland Road that would be joint, with the town of New Whiteland as well as Johnson County. I thought it was due in October, and Crossroads just sent me a notice saying it's due in September with the updated, cost. So while I was in October, thought we had more time. Just asking if we can go ahead and submit that with the same letter of support that you guys provided last year. New Whiteland's getting their approval tonight, and then, Johnson County has already indicated that we can use their letter of support from, previous, the last year's submittal, so.
This would,
Johnson County's both west corners, right?
For now,
no, for now.
For
New
now,
Whiteland has the rating in as the northwest corner.
For those.
for all those homes.
And that brings up a question. Now that all them new homes are coming in, is the roundabout that we're looking at gonna accept all them new homes, new cars, new stuff like that? Or is this gonna kind of throw a wrench in things and kind of change it up a little bit? Because they're talking quite a few homes in there.
400.
So first, to answer your question real quick, obviously that's not our jurisdiction, but I have spoken with the New Whiteland folks and asked them to make sure that a traffic impact study is completed, to take into account all of those homes. Secondly, the type of grant that we're applying for is called CMAQ, which is an air quality grant. So it's basically taking into consideration how long are people sitting at that four-way stop right now, and then the air quality. Last year, it was the same type of funding. We did not get funded. We didn't score high enough. Air quality must not have been set. So this year we're submitting again, and it just is dependent on who else is submitting for that grant, how they score, and they score better than us. So even if this round if we resubmit and we still don't get it, having additional traffic is probably the only way you're gonna get that air quality type grant.
How much is that?
It would be, I don't have it in front of me, I will get it to you guys, like what our portion would be. I believe overall with what the grant would fund and then what each community would fund, I believe it was less than $150,000 would be our matching portion.
Oh, that would be.
That's awesome.
And the other.
Be great for you guys.
The other thing is that with the MPO, just because you apply today and get approved this year, it's not for construction until 2028. So you have time to ease into the payments because part of it's design and engineering and part of it is, kind of utility work that needs to be done ahead of time. And then you get to the construction in 2028. So we're still looking at a few years out.
I was just curious because I just know all them homes are probably going to make it in. Well, they're going to go whether it's Johnson County or whether it's New Island. I mean, it's going to be built. So I just didn't want to crowd you guys on that side of town because that's just a lot of traffic coming through there. If we made it too
By the
small.
time this gets going, all of Joe's kids will be driving.
That's a lot of cars.
New one.
You probably have 10 more by then.
So I would like to ask if we could submit our same letter of support, that the matching portion would be split between the three jurisdictions.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay, like I said, it's 2/3. Just found out Friday, great. The other update real quick, so Stephen had sent this to me a couple weeks ago with the Wrigley Real Estate, which is the Bailey and Wood building. There was a new assessment done, a new Form 322 that was sent to Bailey and Wood, to Mike Wood, regarding their assessment and some paperwork that we needed to update. You guys had already
It was with
approved.
this.
It was, do you have this, Tim?
That's what
He did
It's in
have,
that packet.
he loses paper.
No, it's not with it. I'm telling you. I looked.
It's the
Thank you.
paperwork that she had sitting here before you got here.
It wasn't on my desk when I sat down, so
Is this
you
it?
must have stole it. You probably took it and hid it under your pile.
This is yours.
Sorry, sir. He's taking my stuff.
He's like this.
All had approved their CF1, basically saying that they're in compliance for their earlier this spring. But now with this new reassessment, the county had sent them, we had them resubmit a CF1 that they're in the process of getting it to the assessor's office. They have until September 26th to get this recorded or sent to the assessor's office. But wanted to present the new CF1 to you all to ensure that you guys are still feel like they're in compliance with what they said they were going to do. So, on their new, basically the anticipated completion of the project was marked as May 15th of 2024. And then, the new assessed value is $2,255,000 and $200. So that was filled in on the new project, so.
And I'll just add that I compared their CF1 that they submitted in March, I think it was, to what they have now submitted. Everything is exactly the same with the exception that they have added to the new one, the new assessed value, which is the $255,200. And they didn't have that at the time. They just received their Form 11, which gave them their new assessed value just in the last couple of weeks. It was some miscommunication, I think, in the assessor's office as to why it didn't get out earlier, but in any event, since they have an abatement, we need to make sure that the paper gets documented correctly and the county doesn't have a reason to cause issues. So I would recommend that this be approved in addition to the one that you approved earlier.
Motion for the Baileywood CF1.
I'll move to approve the revised CF1 and indicate that they're in substantial, and find that they're in substantial compliance.
Second.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Fred Go Decker, Deborah Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Saylor,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
that's 5-0.
So before the last council meeting, we had a work session to discuss the utility rate studies. And and I think at that time we could discuss, you guys needed some more time to kind of review everything, but there was some discussion to lean towards option 2 that was presented. So as we work to draft some ordinance, to bring back the October's meeting, just wanted to kind of revisit. We sent the water rate studies to you all on August 20th. I did not receive any additional questions from council members, and again, just wanted to look at how to proceed with an introduction of the water rate increase ordinance that we were considering. In my little report, I put the different options just as a quick review, but wanted to see if this, oh, and also you should have received in your packets options on utility bills, and just using those various, how the bills would change based on the different options. It included some users that, just at 4,000 gallons. It also had options of somebody that's over 4,000 gallons, and then it had a high user. These were all residential high users at 20,000 gallons, just so you could kind of see how the bills would compare. So does anyone have any questions? How would you like to proceed? We didn't really get through the rest of the options, but you guys need more time.
I like option 2. I don't know about anybody else.
And option 1 is our current standard.
It's the current structure of a minimum of 4,000 gallons. And then the declining water rate after that. Option 2 would be dropping the minimum to 2,000 and then charging a flow charge based on their usage after that.
When do we have to make a decision on that?
Whatever you would like. You don't have to make a decision tonight. I just, the plan was to, if we had further direction, we could come to you with the October meeting with a clean ordinance. If not, what we can do is come to you with the ordinance with all 3 options. And then you all, similar to what we did with the track rate in October, and then from there, I give you another month to kind of review the data, information, questions, and introduce it in October. And then allow you guys to select your options at that point.
Does it have to have public hearing?
Yes, it'll eventually have to happen. That's why I'm like, what direction you want us to take?
Okay.
So we know what.
So we need,
That way they're not flooding the
we need
options with
2
all three
meetings.
options.
Yes.
But she
Yes.
wanted to
The
know what
budget option that meeting too, but that one we already done.
2 seems like the cheapest to me.
I mean, there's not much difference between option 2 and option 3.
No.
$1 or so in each.
To be perfectly honest with you, I would probably like to have option 1 and option 2 in front of us for the public hearing.
Okay.
Hear what the people have to say about it. Would probably be my preference, but that's probably not the cleanest way to do it, nor the most efficient way to do it, but that would probably be my thought.
We're gonna have to set chairs out in the parking lot again.
Well, we don't have.
It gives them an option too. I mean, it gives the public an option to look at what we're looking at and saying, hey, look, they selected 2. And then if they got any comments, they can go from there.
We'll see who has the biggest pitchfork.
Please.
Chicken wire.
Good.
Chicken wire.
Oh my gosh, we went there, really?
Actually, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about Roadhouse.
Roadhouse, there you
So it
go.
sounds like
That's better than chickens.
draft the ordinance to include options 1 and 2 for further discussion.
All right.
I think it's probably our best, and at least the public will see that we had 2 options and kind of hear their thoughts on it and go from there.
I only have one more thing that I wanted to bring up, and so for our sewer rate, we're still in the process of determining what project we want to put in there, before we present the sewer rate, options to you all. The one thing that we had also asked Reedy to do was to look, remember we were talking about EDUs earlier? When we looked at our domestic unit, ours was significantly lower than most communities, and as we have grown, this is for new developments, and anybody that's making a significant change in the usage or impact to our system, how we charge them and capture back those EDUs, again, based on their usage. So, for example, with the schools, they expanded their population, to go back and capture that EDU back in the early 2000s, they had populations of 1,000 students, now they're over 2,000. So that's 2,000 more, or that's 1,000 more people that are using the facilities that are impacting our system. So that would be like an example of a remodel or things of that nature where we could go back and capture those additional new developments, new houses, new industrial buildings, get an EDU charged for them again based on the type of use it is. Residential homes, it's one EDU. So it's not usually going to an individual resident unless they're personally building their home. It's factored into the development. So again, my is 2250. Reedy's suggestion is for us to increase that to 3,964 per EDU. This would be a separate ordinance from our sewer rate. This would be a development rate for development fee that we'd like to come back again in October with that proposal to increase the EDU charge from $22.50 to $39.60.
I've got one question. Now, if you change occupancy and you change it from a store to a daycare, then you're gonna charge them EDUs based on a daycare, right? Just because they paid the once don't mean they're good to change the building, correct?
Right.
Okay.
And that's what I think we have not done a very good job of. Where the first time we did that was with the schools in big renovation, and knowing that, and actually you're supposed to do it based on what the projected usage is going to be. We went back and captured where they were with their population, the student population, and then the teachers, employees, back to like the early 2000s, because they haven't done a significant improvement, and then looked at today's head count as far as the pupils and then the teachers and administrators and such, and tried to capture back some of those EDUs because they are the biggest user of our sewer system, if I had to guess.
Right, but we cut their EDUs fees down.
We gave them a deal.
Right, and it got us nowhere. So my point is I think the big businesses need to pay their fair share, whether it's school, whether it's a hospital, whether it's anything. Because that's, our residents done paid for this sewer once. I don't think we should have to pay for an upgrade because we're letting all these businesses come in and them not paying their fair share.
That was the first time we've gone back to capture EDUs, and it was a little bit of it was a very large amount if we were to charge the school for all of that. And so I think there could be an opportunity for us to go back and recapture that. But to have those conversations so they could budget a little bit better, because they estimated their budget, their permit was gonna cost X amount. We came back and said, no, it's gonna be this amount. And so they raised some questions that, again, they're users of the system, and I agree with you. There shouldn't be any free passes, just because of convenience.
Carmen, is that suggested 3964, is that comparable to our other municipality neighbors on what they potentially
It's still lower than some.
It is, okay.
I couldn't find that real quick when I was on the phone with Stephen, but I can provide you with what everybody else is.
I was just thinking
Do you know
if,
off the top of your head, Tim, do you know what development fees might be over?
Yeah, I'm staying out of that one because I don't want to get parties upset. But yeah, I think we need to look at surroundings, because if it needs to be higher, then we need to take that in consideration. If it does need to be compromised with everybody else, if we take an average.
maybe a good threshold, I guess, maybe.
But we also have to be fair.
I
We
agree.
can't just.
Yeah, we have to justify.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, but we need to see if we're way off.
Yeah.
Or if we're close, if it's close and we all think, hey, that's fair, that's good, then we're good to go. But if we're way off, then we probably ought to look at something and think about what we're doing. Just my thoughts, but I'm good with it.
Okay.
Well, I'm guessing that Reedy did comps to come up with that number.
I would think so.
Don't have that.
Okay.
That number actually was a calculation based upon, if I can remember, the equity we have in our system divided by the number of customers. And that basically, EDUs that are currently used, and that resulted in this number.
Okay.
Those calculations.
That was a conversation we had.
So it's pretty compromised to everybody around, pretty close.
I would
So-
suggest that, just to keep things moving, and you know, the longer you wait, the more you're gonna not collect.
I agree.
New development will happen under the old fee, and so the sooner you can implement the fee, the better.
I mean, if there's a formula to get to that figure and you double check, and I mean, it is what it is.
What I
It's
was
better
gonna-
than what we had or have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would recommend that we prepare an ordinance based on this, but at the same, and bring it to the October meeting. But at the same time, do some additional checking on comparable, communities.
No, that
I
sounds
agree
fair.
with that 100%. I do like that.
And we can always adjust it if we need to.
So we'll do that. I said that was my last thing, but just so you know, and I don't know if Melissa will share this, but I'll steal her thunder again. State Board of Accounts has come in and the audit has started for 2020 to 2023. And they're expected to be here through the end of this month, so. just so you know.
Don't worry, I signed the paper, so I got everybody's back.
You're going to jail.
Yeah, it'd be all you, not us.
Better not be.
I'm not working there
You're gonna
anymore.
actually be getting bond money.
Oh,
We're not done.
somebody's saying something. It's his birthday.
Looky there.
Thank you.
Did you put this together?
It's a birthday week.
Did you? Okay.
Oh. Birthday week. Oh, don't tell me a statement of loss.
Impressed, Lynn. I didn't know you knew Excel and budgets.
Yeah. No, Angie.
Yeah,
Angie and Carmen.
we all need help. I'm good with it. I'm good with it 100%.
That's just the, kind of a breakdown of or real estate, or real estate, compared to the building.
So it looks like about 173,000 remaining depreciation we can potentially capture.
The total, about 2 million.
Yeah, looks like right about 2.5. All right.
I've got a question, and I wasn't here on all the other stuff, so I'm just trying to catch up. This being a commercial property, and if I'm not mistaken, all commercial property has to go through state to get a state approval. Okay, I would think, even though it's our town, I think we should follow all the permit fees. We don't have to pay them, but we need to follow them. That way, when a subcontractor or builder comes in, he knows that we've got these permits and he's got to do it this way. And I think what it does, it shows us the ins and out on how things are done. And maybe Slim and Carmen could say, hey, this looked like this was more of a hassle, but if we changed it this way, it could kind of correct everything. And then we know what the developer's going through filling out a permit. I changed this in our area that we run everything through and waive the fees, because I think it's a good way for the development side to see what the builders are actually going through to lay everything out. And when the state sends it, like what we do, is we have all commercial property go through it, and they'll say, yes, you need a state review, or no, you don't need a state review, and then they turn that in, and that protects us from the state coming after us, because the state's more concerned about commercial than they are residential. So I was curious, was that procedure done with this, and we've got a state release and all that?
Yes.
Okay.
If it wasn't just like a restoration, like some roof and that kind of stuff, but it's still got a permit. But like the fire department, street garage, there'd be a building and sewer plant, another building and sewer, be two buildings and sewer. Those will all be, under the state review. So those will all have to be drawn by.
Right. Because of the trusses and stuff that got destroyed and stuff like that to protect us. Because that's what we're ultimately doing, is protecting our investment townspeople, is making sure that when a contractor comes in here, he knows that there's certain rules he's got to follow. Now, are you calling in, are you calling in a third-party inspector to do these, or are we doing it in-house and taking care of it ourselves? Okay. And that's fine. I was just curious on how you were doing it and to make sure that everything's getting taken care of that way and stuff like that.
Maybe fix some stuff, if they've got all the ceiling in right now, they've got all the drywall in, all the floors in. But at the end of, when they say they're done, we're gonna have a pretty good sized punch list for them. They're gonna have to go back through and fix some stuff. It's
Just not acceptable. And I agree with that. And I was just seeing making sure that we followed all because I know sometimes if we don't do that, then things kind of get lost in the paperwork. And I'd really rather make sure that we're doing it and making sure that the developer is going through the best way he can to help him along the way in case we do get more developments here.
right. And then the street garage, last time I talked to you guys, we were getting ready to start on that. But I met with the engineer one more time over there, and he we got to talking, and he had some concern about when they put the poles for the pole, it's an actual pole barn kind of building. Since there's already a concrete slab there of having, he wasn't, okay with the compaction that there would be on the backside of the pole. So we went back to insurance, and we are trying, kind of arguing code and whatnot, to keep it with them to hopefully put a whole new concrete floor in there. So that will be all brand new.
So where are we at on the street garage total cost for, is it a repair or is it a total is it on your sheet here somewhere?
Well, that's what they.
Is it a total loss?
Yeah. It's about 400 to rebuild it'd be like 460,000 before concrete.
Is it on one of these building description items or? Do you know?
Location 2,
It's,
location 2.
So it's the top two?
503. Location 2 is the 5.
No. Location 2.
before I do anything, I send.
15 is the fire department.
The approval of, that will make up for the difference in what we sent you already, or.
Oh, I'm looking at it too.
What have you, but I haven't been denied yet with the total.
So what was the total, what is the total that the insurance had given Whiteland, what we had to work with?
I don't have that right off the top of my head, but on here, it is like $2 million and some dollars that we've got.
Almost 2.5 million.
For everything what was damaged.
Yeah, that's changed, due to Merrill Brothers hauling sludge anywhere from 25 to 50,000 a month. That's why I wanted to get the press and all that back up and going. Because he really doesn't seeing it like a business.
Yeah.
Kind of deal, and I'm like, hey, you don't make millions if you don't let me get back to where I get going.
Right.
And on the street garage, what's your anticipation with the problem with the concrete coming back? what's your, I mean, obviously, we're in the Q4 right now, so it's gonna be Q1 2025 before we're in it, or?
It should be here pretty soon, we should know an answer. We just sent a letter back to, insurance today, and then, he's trying to get some more of his engineer people at his place to get more involved with it and kind of give them a little bit more info to kind of dig at them a little bit harder to hopefully get it replaced.
So as I understand it, what the poles that have to punch for the new posts are going to cause a compaction issue with the subgrade of the floor.
Yeah, because you got you still got your floor, then you got a slab that's sitting.
Mm-hmm.
A floor like that, well, on this back side, he's worried about the compaction, on the back side of this post and what's gonna happen there.
What's under the slab?
Right.
Yeah. This is just a floating slab, right? I mean, it's for the whole building.
Yeah, it's just. My question is, I'm sorry, Richard. Go
No, I was gonna say, thanks for putting that together, I appreciate that.
My question is, and on a job something like this size, I don't know, but when you send it out for a contract or to bid, so you get several bids on the building from different contractors to figure out which is the most affordable one to go to?
We reviewed like 4 different companies for restorations, and two of them kind of pretty much faded out.
Didn't put together like a full proposal, it was just like, here's a flat amount, didn't really detail out, like.
Right.
The 2 we actually got back, another one.
First on side,
Who's doing the building
first on side,
and where are they located at?
all over.
Okay, so it's a bigger company.
Yeah.
Okay. That was my only concerns.
Heard of something you haven't?
Yes, I didn't know about it. You guys been here forever.
Thanks.
Now, next time I need a spreadsheet, I'm gonna call you, okay?
Call Angie.
I have some good questions on other stuff. Since you're up there, I figure I'd just go ahead and ask you while you were there. I was at our store today, and when I was walking out, a citizen asked me what are our plans with that alley. When are they think it's going to get paved?
Yeah, that's on the list to be paid this year.
This year?
Yes.
Okay, that was one of the biggest concerns he had. And then another guy asked me about the water boy, where they buy bulk water. Do you guys have a bulk water? Is it operable?
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask you. Are you gonna,
We don't have any Wi-Fi over there right now, so I can't make it operational.
Well, he was just asking when he was going to do it because he works for a board company. And he called me and said, hey, I can get water.
Yeah, that's on the list. The platform have to buy it.
Now, that's ours, right? That's not Americans. We just sell it from them.
We
Okay.
set our price on it, but we'll go in charge or whatever.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Hey, one other question, maybe, the Aquafire quote, remember in the summer, we kind of okayed that maybe the Aquifer. Okay,
It's an
Aquifer,
aquifer,
I mean, did we do that? Did they give us any data on that?
I just talked to them the other day. They're starting to slow down. And he's gonna come out, next week or week after. And,
Run his test or
I told him
something?
it wasn't a big hurry, just whenever you can do it, take your time, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
They're supposed to come out and drop a small pump in there and kind of see what it does before they put one of the big ones down in there and actually fully send it.
Okay, I just
So,
looking for an update, so thank you.
anything else?
Well, I'm kidding. Mr. Ship,
I have handouts for all of you.
First of all, I apologize for the the time on this because it's time sensitive. As you knew, we had our new vehicles were on order. We got those yesterday. They were built. We delivered to the dealership on the 19th. So we pushing forward. I had Julia start checking on loans, possible loans, and we've done 3 different banks we went through and got quotes. They were able to get it back to us in time to be able to present this.
I've seen this one.
We've got 2 new Tahoes that'll be in the 19th. The funding we have, we've already put in the 24 budget under CCD, police capital outlaws.
Under what? CCD capital outlay?
That's what I do all, they always say something. Outlays. But anyway, this should help explain what we're doing. What I'm asking, I guess, and we went down to the banks, and it seemed like we checked with our bank, which gave us a good quote. That was Horizon. Normally it's 6.5%, they dropped it to 5.14 with no stipulations in there. I mean, they can do it without checking other quotes. Regions Bank was willing to do it, but we would have to turn all of our banking over to them, the town would, before they would do anything with it. So we're kind of.
We're gonna call.
Ridge under, what is that?
Okay.
We even went through IU Credit Union, same thing, they wanted all the town's banking before they would actually talk to us on getting a loan. So really Horizon stepped up, worked with us if we've had, and that's what we've had in the past, I believe, on the DIB.
Yep. Well, Dave's always lowballed everybody.
Yeah. And he, there's no stipulations and we've got to have so much down, and I mean, they're just gonna, which helps fund the rest of what we kind of broke down as. Like I say, if you follow down through, down to the bottom, explains what we're doing with the loan's a 5-year loan. 5.4%. Payments start soon to. Preference on the monthly, how we set our payments up. The others wanted monthly or something stipulation. Then you go down with the sale of our 2 vehicles, we'll be replacing the new ones. Down here, down at the bottom, on 2024 budget, explains the breakdown of the money, what we're gonna use there. And then we've already allocated in our 2025 budget, again, the 25,000 to continue the payment plan, so we can take on a 5-year plan. And what I'm asking, because of the time sensitive thing, is trying to get a check from the bank and get up there when the delivery date's set, so these vehicles will be picked up from Kelly Chevrolet. What I'm asking is your blessing on letting me pursue the bank and lock down the loan and get money for these vehicles.
So annually for both is 23,331, and you budgeted 25,000.
So you done ordered these? You've done ordered these vehicles?
Yeah, they've been ordered since, because you gotta order them, they've been ordered since January.
You have to order them way ahead of time.
Well, I'll tell you, yeah. You gotta order that far.
Yeah.
And then they don't ever tell you to the bill, we want to go ahead with the financial, we actually got a EIN number given to us.
Okay.
And then a delivery date set for.
As long as I got it budgeted.
They said there'll be a Kelly Chevrolet. So it's kind of time sensitive, because if we don't, then these cars are hard to get. Tahoe, the pick of all police departments, so they kind of.
Oh.
Shove them on out there.
What does outfitting cost of T1, T2 mean? What does that designation mean?
If you see up at the top, Tahoe 1
Tahoe 1,
and Tahoe 2, it was just so I didn't have to write
T1,
out
T2.
Okay.
What's PPV?
What's PPV mean?
Police pursuit
Police
vehicle.
pursuit vehicle.
That's what I,
It's a trim package.
Yeah, it's like.
that's what I thought it was, but I wanted to make sure.
And Kelly has the QPA? Does Kelly have the QPA?
Yeah.
Where are they at?
Right, they have the state, you're asking. if they-
Fort Wayne?
Fort Wayne.
That where you got your
That's
car? Okay.
Unfortunately, that's where the state bid comes in. And we were fortunate enough, I mean, they only give them so many, but we had talking, and since we bought one from already.
Shoot, trucks cost just as much.
They're hard to get.
Tyler might have switched off
Cars
and
cheaper.
getting R2 added.
Mhm.
Cars,
And then you see on
is
the
my opinion.
Tahoe too, you got a sticker of,
Trucks cost more to insure
steps
too.
that one up a little higher.
So does the SUVs,
10 on one off.
but it does get a high safety rating.
Stuff. The outfitting on the vehicles includes our gun vaults and everything we need in the vehicle. It's all installed. But what I'm asking is maybe approval of me to go ahead and talk to the bank and get the loan started.
Who's getting the 2 new vehicles?
K-90s.
Sergeant Doss and Lieutenant Cole.
So Doc's gonna have a dog package in it then.
Right, that's what it's in.
And that's the $9,361.
Yeah.
And we didn't cut corners on that because, I mean, you got a big investment in the K9 and it's got all the safety features.
Mm-hmm.
Keep, you know, if something would go wrong and set stuff off alarms, turn on certain stuff.
How's the dog doing?
He's doing very, very well. Thanks for asking.
Good.
Got a good report back. The last report we got back was like everything's recovered and they didn't really have a specific thing that caused it. Even after all the blood tests and everything, they said, you know, back to normal, he's back on duty, doing fine.
Now we're putting annual blood testing on the
Nope. No, they never did. They just said it could have been something. They think it's something he might have picked up.
Could have been ingested, it could have just been an
Ingested.
intestinal thing, I mean, it could have been,
Maybe he's allergic to Scott.
could be.
Which is, I mean, I'm very, very proud of it, where we took him, because, I mean, we'd have lost a dog.
Yeah.
They're very good at what they do there. They're not cheap, but they're very good at what they do.
Exactly.
Chief, why unmarked undercover as opposed to very vibrant?
Okay. We have a lot of times where we've got to have an unmarked, and usually it's, your ranking officer, you'll see that in the county, or anywhere, state, police, or New Whiteland. Your ranking officers are usually in an unmarked car, and then we can utilize that car for stakeouts, or if we've got, say, we've used them several times when like U.S. Marshals come down and they got a suspect maybe at the truck stop. They're marked, most of them are marked, they want us to drive through, check the situation, get a rundown. We use our unmarked cars.
Another big
And
one,
then patrolling at night, and then unmarked, if they're at night, they blend in kind of
Plate stickers.
a lot better for that. We still have quite all the other marked cars. I mean, we got,
another thing that helps, having, the unmarked is, our extra patrols, like whenever we get people calling in saying that they're running the stop sign. Nobody's gonna run the stop sign when they see the cop car sitting there. That's marked up. And we're never gonna resolve the issue and be able to stop the person to talk to them and say, hey, you need to stop here, you know, obey these laws. But when the unmarkeds are sitting there, they're stopping them more often to be able, because they don't pay attention, they just see a car sitting, you know, parked on the road. So that helps us in making sure to cut down on the resident complaints on,
and I see what you're talking, Brad, about the markings being out, patrolling and stuff. They're more seen as to cut down crime, but we utilize the unmarked just as much as we do on special details and stuff. To get them out there.
Even though they're unmarked, you can still tell they're a
they're
cop car. I mean,
unmarked.
no matter what, you can see the cop car in them. I mean, you see him everywhere.
Except Kenny Polly. He looks like he's driving a grandma's vehicle.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
Consider the driver.
I've told him.
He drives like grandma.
a lot of the departments are going to unmarked, and slip shops because of the resale value.
The resale and safe stuff, we're not cutting holes in the roads or going to sell.
So, you're asking for us to just approve you moving forward on this, Chief?
Technically speaking, will this be structured as a lease financing, or do you know?
Structure around the lease financing, yeah, on a 5-year plan.
It'll be similar to the ones that Verizon's done with us in the past.
If nobody else has anything else, I'll move to approve the chief's request.
Have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Godecker,
Yes.
Deborah Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Saylor,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
pass 5-0.
You're welcome.
Thank you, chief.
Just a little rundown on our runs, we've seen an uptake in our runs a lot at the truck stops now. I think we're getting a lot of investigations that's getting into some lengthy time, just all the guys are handling it real well, but we're seeing our runs pick up a little bit, but the runs we are getting requires a little more investigative work into it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Carmen, do you have any updates with Eric at all that you can share?
I emailed you.
She emailed us.
Well, I'll get with you tomorrow then.
Giving you grief.
Okay.
Chief,
1 second. Can I go to my office and print that off because they're gonna have to sign it tonight?
I was gonna do it.
Right.
at the meeting.
I emailed it to her as well, so
All right.
one or the other.
Okay.
And I'd be careful because of HIPAA.
Yep. So, and he had given me approval to send that email that I did send out to everybody, but he does have surgery scheduled for Monday. So keep him in his prayer, keep him and his family in your prayers. And we'll keep you posted on how everything goes. Just
Thank you.
Always
good thing,
protecting
if it
us.
goes well, you can be back to work in 30 days. Don't know why you would want to do that, but that's all I'll say is that I'm just keeping my thoughts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council comment? Take as a no. Public comment? Take as a no. Adjourn.
All right.